Coming up on UPH. Doody 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 doody.
Rogue Love returns.
Telltale Streamathon.
Robot roll call.
And more on this episode of Unbelievable Power Hour.
I thought we agreed to put that jungle business behind us. It was mating season. How could I have known she was your sister?
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Unbelievable Power Hour, your mind-blowing source for video game news, previews, and adventure. I'm Dan DeHaan, and with me today is my gaming brozo, Aaron Grand Prize Game Wiesinger.
Hello, Dan.
Hello. Did you grow up watching Bozo the Clown?
It was on, but I was always kind of weirded out by it. I was never, afraid of clowns, but the show itself just kind of weirded me out.
I watched it almost every morning before school. It was always on. And the one
I don't
clown
actually know what they did on there.
It was all like little comedy skits and games, stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, the thing that freaked me out the most of the clowns, Bozo didn't. Cookie the Clown a little bit. But Wizzo the Wizard was the creepiest looking clown ever.
Okay. All right, Cookie is a little creepy.
But Google Wizzo the Wizard if you want to have nightmares about clowns. I don't even think he's enough of a clown to be considered a clown.
With the weird orange skin here?
Yes, and he would go up and his little magic thing was doody 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 doody, and that's how he put hexes on people. But I think the primary reason that I watched is because I dreamed of being a part of the grand prize game. Do you know what that was?
Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, the grand prize game was like, you'd get called from the crowd to come down, and there would be, I think, 6 buckets in front of you, and you had to stay behind the line and throw ping pong balls into each bucket progressively.
Okay.
So start with 1, then you go to 2, and as you went, the prizes got better.
Mm-hmm.
I believe bucket 5 was like $50.
Yeah.
Bucket 4 was like a case of Archway cookies.
Mm-hmm.
But the last bucket was...
It's a grand prize.
The grand prize, and the last bucket was Schwinn bicycle.
Oh.
And I wanted to be a part of that so bad, and I'd occasionally try and find something that I could practice with.
Yeah.
To be a part of the grand prize game, and I was just like, "You guys suck!" You know? But it was exciting when a kid won. Oh man, yeah! Good job, Timmy.
Sort of looks like the precursor to beer pong.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Well, I was amazing at beer pong. So, I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy this week.
Awesome. Me too.
It was awesome. Oh, did you? Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we can both talk about it and spoil everything for everyone. I came away thinking, I thought it was great. I'd probably say an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I was going to rate it.
Sure.
But there were 2 things that I came away with feeling. Number 1, Bradley Cooper is legit. When I heard that he was doing the voice of Rocket Raccoon, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Not impressed.
He was really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed because a lot of times they get those known actors to do voice work. They're not really voice artists by any
Right.
means, and it's just getting the name, and they just sound like themselves.
They're just talking. Yeah.
So, you know, unless you're somebody like David Schwimmer that was just born with a weird voice, you just sound like a
just can't help
normal
it.
guy talking.
Yeah.
But he really put a lot into the character where I wasn't thinking, oh, this is Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
I thought he did me.
It was weird because I knew that was he was playing the character, but unless I knew that, I wouldn't have like just been, oh, that's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, and it was perfect for the voice or
Yeah.
for the character. I thought.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, wow. And I thought the siege was pretty good on Rocket Raccoon. There were times where I was like, wow, that looks like a real raccoon.
Yeah.
You know,
really nice.
Thing. The second thing I came away with, how cool is Vin Diesel? That, I mean, he's an A-list. He's an A-lister. You know,
Yeah.
the dude makes tons. He
Big
brings
name.
the box office. To be in a movie where he has very few lines, we'll just say,
Yeah.
and is not even shown on screen, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And for a second there, I was like, oh, he probably didn't do any of the motion capture.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
He did.
Yeah. He was on stilts. He learned how to walk on stilts
Really?
and followed the actors around. And
I thought it was totally just voice acting with him.
yeah, I thought they just got some tall guy, something like that. Tall, skinny
Yeah.
dude. No. Yeah, he followed him around on stilts, and he was there.
That's super
So,
cool.
I have to say, I'm impressed, Vin Diesel. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
You got the DeHaan seal of approval.
Good job. I'll go see Fast and Furious 7. No. I was going to anyways, because those are a guilty pleasure.
I love it.
I actually love Vin Diesel. So, what did you think of the movie?
I really liked it too. I think I was sort of a little bit tainted by being super tired from the jet lag.
Yeah.
But
From your
yeah,
trip
it was
back from the U.S. to
the America.
Southern Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, I really had a good time with it. I had no idea like what the actual story is. Like Guardians of the Galaxy has no place in my mind, like from the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So it was just going in blind, but it was a lot of fun. There were some moments where I was like, it's a little on the nose, but yeah, overall I thought it was pretty fun.
It was really depressing in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah,
like,
it
wow,
was.
this is the most depressing origin story I've ever seen.
Good.
Brittany was like on the way back. She was like, "Well, Superman parents and his planet is destroyed in the beginning, and you know, Uncle Ben,
Yeah.
Spider-Man."
But this was
just like too real and
It was-
slaps you across the face, and it was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. It was like it was too real. Superman, it was like, oh, their planet's being destroyed.
Yeah,
like-
and it's all like none of it's Earth-like.
Yeah.
You know.
So, ugh.
Yeah. So
I
it was cool.
wasn't sure about like some of the music. For a second there, when the music was, you know, they picked some of that era of the '80s music throughout,
Yeah.
and I was like, I wasn't sure how to feel about that mixed into a sci-fi film,
Mhm.
but I thought that it ended up being fine. I was kind of like, I don't hate it. So
Yeah, I thought it worked pretty well.
overall, I really liked it. I would own the movie.
Yeah.
You know, definitely.
Agree.
Another
So,
movie I watched recently that we didn't talk about was Snowpiercer. We didn't talk about that, did we?
I don't think so.
And this is actually it's a mix South Korean and American joint.
Yeah. The director is South Korean.
Really good
And-
movie. Not what I expected, but
Mhm.
I thought it was really good. And that's all I'll say.
I didn't really like it actually.
No?
Yeah.
Why?
It was what? Did it just come out there or something?
Yes.
Okay. It was like months and months ago that came out.
It's pretty standard for foreign films too. Sometimes it takes a year before they get over here.
Sure. I thought there were like I really like the like the story to it. I thought it was a cool idea, but I don't know. It just sort of lost me. I didn't think it was that interesting.
Hmm.
Like actually implemented. But
So, how was your trip to America?
it was awesome. It was too short. I was there for about a week and a half, because I had to come back for a day of English camp that I teach during the summer, and so I had to come back a little bit early.
That
Yay!
sounds exciting.
Yay! If you're a 10-year-old boy or girl here, you can come join me in English camp. Yeah, so I had to come back for that, but it was awesome. I didn't get to see everybody that I wanted to, but immediately, like the first day back, I got in my car or my dad's car and drove out to hang out and have BroFest 2014.
2014. Yeah, we talked a little bit about it on the show last week. Had talked about our meets and our board games and
Amazing meets.
Oh, yes, and a little Android Netrunner ice cream. Amazing ice cream too.
Yeah.
Yeah. GOTG got me. Oh, Guardians. I was reading the notes and it was like GOTG got me. Oh,
got game.
what?
So we had the BroFest 2014, and then after that went up to Traverse City for a couple days, and my girlfriend came, and so she got to like meet my family and hang out, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to talk about some games?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do this. All right, everybody, it's time for the weekly playlist. This is where we talk about the games that we've been playing all week. Now, Aaron hasn't gotten any video games in, but he's got some board games to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start us off. I played ton of video games this week.
Yeah.
Last week on the show, Tim filled in for Aaron, and he told me about Plague Inc.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting it, and I ended up playing it, and I ended up loving it. It is a good game. Have you heard of this game?
Never heard of it. What system is this for?
It is for the iPad. I think it's for Android, and it's also for Steam. You can get it on Steam. It's cheap on your mobile device, though. 99 cents. It's $15 on Steam. So the game, basically, simple premise, you see a map of the world, and you are trying to infect and then kill everyone on the planet.
Wow.
As a disease.
Like you play the part of a disease?
Yes.
Oh. That's cool.
And so with the iPad version, you start out, you just have bacteria. That's what you start out with. There are other forms of diseases you can unlock later if you win. For instance, virus and fungus are a couple other ones. And what you do then is, as you play, you introduce the virus or the disease somewhere on the world, and you get to pick which country. And from there, it just has basic, like, it starts to spread, just like a little minor disease. And you start unlocking different attributes of the disease to get it to spread more, or to get it to become more deadly. So, for instance, you can change the transmission, so whether it's, or expand or evolve the transmission. So, like, select air, so that it becomes an airborne pathogen. And then it's also spread through the livestock, it's spread through water, blood, all these different things that you can choose. Those things affect the infectability rate, so it'll start spreading. There's also then symptoms, so coughing, sneezing, sweating, and even more, brain hemorrhaging, all these different symptoms that you can start unlocking. And then there's abilities that you can have it become more drug resistant. You can have it become more resistant to cold or heat, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a really good time with this game. I played it a lot this week. It's really fun. It's kind of disturbing when you tell people about it. I was at work. I was like, hey, I got this new game where you're a disease and you're trying to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And they're
Good
like,
job,
that
Dan.
creeps me out.
Let's be friends.
It's not called bioterrorist. It's just called plague.
What is the actual like mechanic for playing the game? Like, how do you unlock like new ways to spread and
as
new
people
symptoms,
become
like
more infected, you get DNA points that then you can spend on whether it's transmission or symptoms or the abilities.
Okay.
And you have to balance how you're spending the points, because what can happen is if you spend all your points on infecting people, everyone will get infected, but they won't die.
Okay.
If you spend your points, if you spend too many points on these symptoms that people start dying, if everyone that's infected dies before everyone gets infected, you'd lose, because there's then still a portion of the population that's healthy.
Okay, sure.
So it's kind of
is
the
it
balance.
like how does it looks sort of not maybe sort of puzzly, like I see a bunch of hex grid stuff. Like, how do you actually play? Is it a turn-based kind of thing? Like, you
No,
play
it's
and then, like
just
next turn and see what
just
happens?
kind of a real-time. I'd equate it to like a real-time strategy type thing.
Okay.
You know, you can select different parts of the map and see which countries are infected. You get points for when it spreads to a new country. And then you just as you're playing, as it's going, you spend those points to increase its effectiveness.
Is this a pretty quick game, or is it?
Yeah, I'd say it's quick. I'd say 20, 30 minutes. I mean, because you can play on like a normal speed, and then you can like hit the fast forward, so it's on like cheetah speed type thing.
Sure.
And that's how I usually play. So game's pretty quick. I'd say 20 minutes. Maybe 15, 20.
Cool.
So yeah, I thought it was really fun. It
looks cool.
I'm not sure if it's available on Android. I would guess it is, but
yes, it is.
It's definitely like a game that's good to just like, hey, if you're riding the bus or the subway or whatever too, it's a good one there. And you can just start like, I'm trying to infect the world with my disease.
It looks like it's actually free.
It might. They have different ways that you can do in-app purchases. Like you can unlock the other diseases faster by just paying.
Okay.
Or you can, if you beat the disease, so like if you win with that disease, then you unlock the next disease.
Okay. I see.
The most fun though, the thing that I've had the most fun, like in this childish, immature sort of way, it's one of these games. Tim equated it to, he and I were talking this week, and he was like, remember Oregon Trail? And you could name your family?
Right.
Name them funny things. And so, it would just, throughout the game then, when someone would get, dysentery or something like that, the name would pop up and it'd be funny and you'd laugh.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same kind of enjoyment because you can name your disease. And I just named my disease farts.
So someone has contracted farts.
Yes, and it'll pop up and say, farts has killed more people than the Black Plague. Farts is more infectious than HIV.
I like it.
And Brittany named hers Dan's butt. So, I mean, that... You just you start laughing and giggling while you're playing because all these messages pop up. Farts is spreading.
No.
So yeah, a good game. I think I think it's really fun.
Yeah, I should definitely get it.
Also this week, Rogue Legacy came out on the PSN store. So it's a cross-buy game. We've talked about Rogue Legacy a lot because we love it so much. It is a roguelike, the roguelike of roguelikes, I'd say.
Yeah.
When you think of
roguelike.
Yeah. It's cross-buy, so you buy it. It's $15. You buy it for one. You get it for all three systems that you might have. So the Vita, the PS4, and PS3.
Nice.
And it's also cross-save. So you play on your Vita, it'll save it. You can go on your PS4, and your save is there.
I like that.
I love it on the Vita. I've played it more because it's on my Vita than on Steam.
Yeah. You just poop out on the couch and play a little Rogue Legacy.
Poop on the couch.
Poop on the couch and then play Rogue Legacy.
Yes. I think it's because, when I think with the whole Papa thing, like becoming a dad, it's like you got to be a little more mobile with your gaming sometimes because, those gaming opportunities might come when it's like, time to go to bed, but, I can play my Vita in bed.
Sure.
Or pooping time. And those opportunities where you want to get germs all over your Vita.
You're looking for those opportunities.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons because it's just like I have a moment, I can grab it, and I don't want to leave. Necessarily just go upstairs for a couple hours and just be isolated from everyone.
Sure.
So it's just nice to be able to, all right, I'm right here. Everybody's just kind of chilling. Grab my Vita.
Nice.
I like the game a lot still. I think I'm like level 37 right now.
Okay.
Have
they changed anything like for these new releases, or
I don't remember when you went into the castle that it costs 100% of your gold to get back in. I thought it was like 50%. It was 100%?
From the beginning it costs 100%, and then there are upgrades you can buy.
Okay.
So like it will minimize the gold, but you will still have to pay.
I couldn't remember that being that way on Steam, but it is that way on the Vita also.
Okay.
One thing that through playing this time on the Vita that I didn't realize before is those teleporters. As you find them, if you lock down the castle, those teleporters will all still be available to you.
Yeah. Because
I was kind of like, how am I going to get to the darkness? I have to go through all this to get to that stage or the Maya or whatever it is, the jungle or whatever. It's like that's a pain. I'm gonna have to travel through the castle again, but then you can just teleport.
Yeah.
If you lock down the castle.
No, it took me a while to figure that out as well.
Yeah, it's not as like obvious.
Right.
But I really enjoyed that. I've beaten one boss. That's it. So is that if you beat the boss in the castle, that's the only boss that's in that castle, right?
I think that there was an update, at least in the Steam version, where like if you, at least maybe I just didn't try it from the beginning, but like when you beat the boss one time and it closed the doors.
Yeah.
But then I went back to it later on after I saw that it had been updated, and you can go in and fight like an advanced version of the boss.
Oh.
And like impossibly hard. Like I honestly don't know how anybody would beat it. Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's they teleport you in with like a new character. Like you're not the same one from like entering the castle, and then you have to try and defeat that new boss.
What do you remember what your biggest gold run has been?
I don't remember, honestly. It's been a while since I played.
I think like beating a boss and the run through the castle, I might have gotten 2,000 gold. That's about it right now.
I mean, I used to do just like very focused gold runs and try and build up points.
Yeah.
But,
what level did you get up to?
It was 130, 150, something like that.
Okay.
Can't remember.
And then finally this week I've been playing the crap out of Telltale games.
Mm-hmm.
I just to set it up, I've been utilizing Steam's in-home streaming.
Okay.
For the same reasons. I've got a laptop downstairs, so I have Steam open on my computer upstairs, and then we'll stream the games to the laptop downstairs while we're hanging out.
Yeah. And how's that working out so far?
Really well. I like it a lot. I think I think there's just like a touch of visual quality loss that you might be able to notice.
Okay.
Sometimes I see like a little pixelation. So not a lot, but it's you can tell it's not as crisp.
Right.
But as far as response and everything, surprisingly, Telltale games, you do have timers for dialogue, so that sometimes they go really fast. I've not had any trouble with that yet.
Okay. Yeah.
And there are also
in
quick time events.
Oh God! When you were playing the iPad version, and you said you had a problem because it was lagging.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It was messing you up really bad.
So I've been playing it that way. I think it's really nice. I can't wait until the in-home streaming stuff gets even better and better, because I think it's really cool feature. I beat episode 4 of The Walking Dead season 2, and I'm really digging on season 2 of The Walking Dead, the game. It's really good.
Yeah.
Have you played season 1?
No, I have not.
Okay. I think you're missing out, because it's everything you'd want in a zombie story. I think it doesn't have the cornball stuff of the show the same, and it's just the characters are really good. I mean, that's the best thing about it. I'm surprised at how good it is. I would say I like this better. I've said it before. I like it better in the show, and I like it better in the comic. I like the characters better than, especially the comic right now. But it's just they're smarter characters, they're smarter writing, and it doesn't linger too long, in situations.
Yeah. I mean, I know I still have to catch up. I'm not sure what episode they're on now for Wolf Among Us, but I mean, oh, it's all done now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I got a lot of catching up to do. So yeah, I did enjoy that. I just haven't checked back. I think I sort of like that was the problem with the episodic thing, was like I'll just forget about it. And so I feel like now going back, I'll have to like replay an episode and then continue from that point.
I've heard people say that The Walking Dead is something that you can play episode to episode, whereas Wolf Among Us is better to play all at once.
Okay.
I played The Wolf Among Us also this week. The 5th episode just came out recently, so that's the final episode of. They're not calling. It's not a season, so I think this is just going to be a one-time game.
Okay.
Unless there's some other completely different story that they do, but it won't be the same episodic game like The Walking Dead.
Right.
Which The Walking Dead, they've already season 3 is going to come out, so that's cool. The Wolf Among Us I was playing on the iPad, and I got through episode 2 on the iPad and was running into that like, this is kind of chugging, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And a while back, The Wolf Among Us was on sale for like $12, all 5 episodes, and so I ended up picking that up. And I got myself caught up to where I was on the iPad. So now it's going to be all new content from here for me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to the rest of Telltale's games, like Borderlands or Tales from the Borderlands or whatever that they're doing.
Right.
I just think they've got such a cool system, and I know eventually it might become like, all right, we're tired of Telltale games.
I was gonna say, like, have you started to get any of that feeling creeping in while you're playing, or like I'm curious if they'll ever like branch out because it seems sort of like a death knell for them to like, nope, we only make these types of adventure games. Like that's it.
No, I haven't had any because it's so story heavy that that's
Mhm.
more what I'm focusing on,
Mhm.
and the dialogue is such a subtle mechanic, and that's in every game.
Mhm.
I think as long as those stories are good, the writing is good, the characters are likable, I think they can keep going. I think right now I'm at that point where it's like I want more. I want Star Wars to be in this because I think
Yeah.
like that would be perfect.
Yeah. I think like the only reason why I might get tired of this style of adventure game versus like old style is this, even maybe if it's not this, like The Wolf Among Us felt much more like on rails versus like a little more exploration from like the old Sierra style adventure games where you're doing a
Yeah,
lot more walking around and just checking stuff out.
that that is what it's missing from the traditional style. I mean, it is more on rails, but I think the what is attracting people to these games is the story,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's like an interactive story more where uh, really they've taken the adventure out of adventure games.
That should be their slogan. We take the adventure out of adventure games.
But it's a new genre. I mean, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be called. It's interactive storytelling. It's a which way book,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been pretty much what I've done this week, gaming
Mhm.
wise.
Cool.
How about you?
Well, I have not, aside from putting my 3DS in my bag that I was intending on playing on the plane, that I never turned on, I haven't done really anything with video games for the past several weeks, probably. From like going to the US, like doing all this stuff. Even when we had Brofest 2014, there were no video games
Nope,
involved.
no video games.
Um, I don't know if shockingly, because we've definitely had our times where we haven't touched a game system since we're
Yeah, I
both
think the last couple
pretty.
times last couple times that we've hung out, there haven't
Mhm.
really been any video games.
Yeah. I think it's so much easier to play games, like just in general. Like I can play a game very easily by myself. I can play it with you or with a friend fairly
Yeah.
easily. But it's much harder to find someone who you can play and enjoy the experience of like playing a real life game, like just in general. So
I think a lot of it is too. There's just been a real shift that multiplayer in games is mostly online,
yeah.
and now I think it's starting to come back with games like Towerfall Ascension.
Mhm.
They're starting to get back into the co-op more,
Yeah.
but they really, the last couple of years it's been everything's online, everything's online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um. So yeah, no video games, but definitely plenty of meat space games. We what did we kick off with? Was it Marvel Dice?
Marvel Dice, yep.
Yeah,
We only
Marvel
played 2 games.
Dice. Yeah, you're right. We were gonna play more, but we got addicted to trying to learn how to play
Yeah.
Android Netrunner. But first off, we started with Marvel Dice, and I had never played it before. You played it quite a bit, I think, and we talked about it on the show before. It's been very hard to find, and it's by the same people who make Quarriors, WizKids games, and it feels initially like, why is this even a game? Like, why did they make this?
You mean
Because
because they already have couriers?
yeah, like it felt very familiar, like very,
Mhm.
very familiar to Quarriors. But then the more you play it, like playing through a game or two, and then you realize, oh, okay, it does have this added element of strategy that I really, really like actually. Um, so that I think that was a lot of fun. It's more, I guess it has like most of the same basic mechanics of how you play, but there is that more like individualized, like you're picking your superheroes or villains, and I'm doing the same. and so we have our own separate pools and our own separate strategies and like potential combos for how we want to do stuff. So it felt a little less randomized than Couriers does.
I feel like Couriers graduates to Marvel Dice.
Yeah.
Because there's concepts and everything that you get out of the way when you play Couriers, and you're like, all right, I get this, and it's easier to teach because you can just direct people what they do. There's not a lot of decision making in the game. The only real decisions that you make are which dice am I going to buy, and that's it. And that's pretty much an easy decision.
Right.
A lot of times that's just dictated by how much whatever the money they call it is.
Quiddity,
yeah. And in Marvel Dice, because you can buy more than one die, and so that makes the decision making a lot different. That adds a lot more to the decisions that you make. Yeah. Because you can buy one expensive die, but if you buy two cheap die, they're gonna come. You're gonna get more superheroes out there, and that's what really counts. You know, and then also you have more opportunities to spend more money. So it's from that perspective, it adds more strategy, and then the fact that you don't have to attack, you don't have to block.
Right.
That changes things.
Right.
Greatly.
Yeah. It does start to feel a lot more like when we talked about like comparing it to Magic, like that sort of thing. Where you are like attacking and assigning blockers, that kind of thing. Instead of Couriers, just like you're attacking everybody at once, and then if you survive, then you score it. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's it's a ton of fun.
Did you liked it overall?
Yeah. I really like Marvel Dice. It's weird that it's still like so hard to find, I think. Yeah. But I'm curious though, like I'm just going to talk about Couriers now because like it's interrelated. But like, do you have most or some of the expansions for Couriers?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, okay, you don't have. Like
I do. Well, let me take that back. I have it on my iPad, and I do have the expansion on my iPad. So I'm familiar with what the real expansion is. Okay.
Because I know that there are several expansions for Couriers, and one specifically I was watching a review for today for Quarterfacts. And that looks like it changes the game in a direction that seems like it's much more strategic, and like it stops making it so it's everyone's going to do the same thing every turn. It's like they add the element of like going on quests and capturing like sort of like you get artifacts like different swords or helms or stuff like that that you can attach to a character, and so it seems like it adds an extra level of strategy that would make the game like much more interesting to me instead of just like the plain vanilla version of Warriors, which is still a fun game. My girlfriend actually got that for me for my birthday, so we're gonna be playing that tomorrow actually.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have Quarterfacts. I haven't played Quarterfacts. I have Coremageddon. And that one just adds more cards and more dice.
Okay. One of them, there's like a Demons expansion, adds the ability to, what is it, like put in dice into the mix that like is like a negative effect for other people potentially. And then like this Quarterfacts one, the Quarterfacts one seemed the most interesting because it adds like the most new game elements to it.
I think that'd probably be a huge update for the iPad. I mean, just from the sounds of that. Like,
yeah.
With the iPad, the base game, it's easy to add cards and dice, but that's really changing the strategy of the game, it sounds like.
Yeah. Like, there are 3 quests you can choose to go on based on what level character you have, so you can choose to go get that, and then score those glory points afterward. Or somebody else can potentially attack you while you're on a quest and stop you from getting those glory points. It seemed really cool, really cool. So I'll probably pick that up once we've learned the vanilla version.
So Android Netrunner, we played that a bunch.
Yep. That we probably played what, like 8 games? No, not that. Maybe like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I think we played 6 games in like 12 hours.
we we spent a good long time trying to learn this game. I mean, we ended up learning how to play. The manual is a little less than helpful. I think
Yeah.
eventually you can find what you need from the manual, but it's not laid out in a way that's conducive to learning the game. I mean, it's already difficult because you play the sort of the hacker role versus the corporate role. And the hacker is always the one who is going on the offensive, trying to attack servers from the corporation. The corporation is always trying to defend with different types of security protocols. And so each side has their own terminology. Even if it's for the same basic action, they call it a different thing. So it makes it just that a little bit more confusing. And so you have to learn all the different terminology for that. And this is a game, it was just called Netrunner when I first played it. Back when I was still playing Magic in like high school, I think. And I don't remember it being like this at all, so I think they have changed it like quite a bit. But it's a ton of fun. Once we actually learn how to play, this is one of my like favorite games, and I would love to play this, like continue to play this.
It was definitely, it like pulled me away from, I fully intended on going back to Marvel Dice. I was like, I want to play one more, get one more, and it was just
It
like
was set up next to us.
Yes, it was ready to go.
Yeah.
And Android Netrunner just pulled me right in. I was like, I want to keep playing this. This game is awesome, and I couldn't stop.
Yeah. It's really great, and I think it's a good balance. I mean, at some points we were like, why does the Netrunner, is he called the Netrunner?
Yeah.
Like, okay, why does the Netrunner have 4 what are they, clicks?
Yeah.
You spend clicks as well as potentially credits to do certain things on your turn. The Netrunner gets 4 clicks, and the corporation only gets 3 clicks. So the Netrunner potentially has more things that he can do during his turn, which like that doesn't really seem fair. But everything seemed to balance out really well.
Yeah.
Like once we learned things that seemed like it was off balance, like no, not really. It seems like a very well balanced game, no matter if you're playing the Netrunner or the corporation.
And the corporation had more ways to bring money in faster. It seemed like. I mean, so that is a really difficult balance that they found. I just really appreciate how they did that, because you're playing 2 completely different styles that just blend together nicely.
Yeah.
And you're working towards different things, but you feel that tension through the whole game of what is happening. You see the ice. The ice is what you use to block the Netrunner from accessing your servers. Right. And you just see that ice building up, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's one more layer of security I'm going to have to break through.
Yeah. And I really like there's that aspect of bluffing.
Yeah.
Putting, because all the servers and all the ice, everything goes on the corporation side, all that goes down face down. So the corporation knows what it is. And, I mean, it makes sense that the hacker does not know exactly. So I can trap people. There's one game that I won because I falsely led Dan to a server that when, he does the hack and flips it over, and you put on the tokens, because you have to, what is it? I can't remember what it's called.
It's kind of like the Matrix in that once you're hacked in, if you die, or if you take enough damage, you're dead.
Right.
So,
but you put on the counters to try and flip over something to score the card, and you see me putting on the counters, but those counters are actually something that will kill you.
Yeah.
So stuff like that ended up being really cool game mechanics.
This is very good.
Yeah. And then real quick, Absolutely, if you're looking at getting a new game, I would wholeheartedly recommend Android Netrunner.
Yeah.
I think we both would. And then I also picked up the new Warhammer 40K 7th edition book set. Which,
nerd alert!
Nerd! I've been looking forward to getting that for a while. They did change quite a bit in the rules. I'm not really going to talk about it because it would take forever. And honestly, I don't know them all yet. But yeah, it's cool. They took it from being like one fat tome of a book, which included all the fluff and the backstory and different information about armies, to dividing it into 3 hardcover books. So like one book is all about the story, the other one is about like the miniatures and models and stuff, and then the other one is like the important one that you would want to take with you to actually play, which is like just the rules and things you need to play the game. So it sort of makes it a little more streamlined when you want to actually go play.
And in my opinion, Android Netrunner needs to take the same approach with their manual. There just needs to be like the Netrunner's guide to Android Netrunner, and then the corporation's guide to Android Netrunner, and then like a married copy of, you know, just general rules and FAQs and stuff like that. That would be nice.
I should say, when we started playing Netrunner, we watched, it was like 20 minutes worth of video that the company that makes the game put out. It's very well produced. Yeah. And it looks really nice, and you're like, oh, this is really helping me play the game, and you feel that way the whole video. And then when you start to play, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. None of that helped me in any way. So, like, I think the best thing they could do to really sell this game would be to, A, make another video that's helpful and break it down a little easier, and B, just totally write a new manual.
Yes.
New manual.
Yes. Agreed. All right, are you ready to get into some news?
Let's news it.
So we want to go through some of the news stories of the week that drew our attention. And the first story is PlayStation is working on their Now infrastructure, and the alpha is going on. Well, actually, it's beta right now, so they've just released the beta of PlayStation Now. Mm-hmm. And this is where you can stream PS3 games to your PS4. So you don't have to, you know, have a hard copy of these games anymore. It brings backwards compatibility to the PS4.
Right.
And so, cool idea, right? Yeah. They've been getting a little bad press over their pricing structure because it's been pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
For some of the games, like a 90-day rental is like $60, which has been, yeah.
I thought it was $15.
Well, that's for that example.
Okay, I see.
During the alpha, there were 90-day rentals for $60, and people were complaining. They were like,
"No,
I'm just gonna buy the game."
That's really dumb.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
So they've made some changes. It's getting better as the beta goes on.
Mm-hmm.
They are also they just kind of announced too that they are working on a subscription model. So it'll be like a Netflix for Sony games.
Yeah.
Or PlayStation games. I don't know that it's just limited to Sony.
I think it's weird that they're basing the price on the game. Like, it's not strictly like, here's our rental prices. It's like, if you want to rent this game, you got to pay a little more. It's like,
I agree. I think and I don't think they should worry about a 90-day rental or anything like that. I think ultimately it's a lot like free-to-play pricing structures, where it's just like you just keep taking a little bit, and that's what worked with rentals.
Right.
Like, before, you don't want to know how much you spend, in total. throughout renting this game.
You don't want to feel that bad.
Yeah, so it's just like, hey, I spent $5. I got 5 days. I want another 5 days, so I spent another $5.
Right.
Before you know it, you've racked up several late fees and and have spent $60 already on the game.
Right.
I don't think they should bother with that kind of rental fee. I like for a day and a week. That's what I want. Give me a day and a week, or a day and 3 days. Whatever you choose that way. But don't worry about a month. Don't worry about 3 months.
Yeah.
Just give me 2 rental options, and that's it.
Right. Just a little pop-up. Hey, you're about to run out. How about giving us another few bucks?
I think
going like that.
It almost feels like they're catering this towards the people that will just sit down and play the game for several hours straight.
Right.
I don't know. It's just I'm not sure where their pricing structure is coming from.
Yeah. Like people who have that time to just play in blocks like that.
Yeah.
But which is not us so much anymore.
I haven't rented a game in forever.
No, I don't remember the last time I have. Maybe high school.
Maybe the Xbox was the last system. The original Xbox was the last system I rented games for.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe the PlayStation for me.
Yeah.
That was a while.
I am curious about PlayStation Now. I think it could potentially be a great service if the subscription price is right. I think $15 a month.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd go 20.
No, I wouldn't be 20. I think they've been pretty smart about their other online stuff, so I think that they'll probably get at something that's going to please everybody. I would hope so.
Or work it into the PS Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that this is like a totally separate thing. It feels like it could very easily go hand in hand with the PS Plus membership.
Yeah. So the beta is going on now. It's an open beta. And I think eventually they will work in PS1 and PS2 games into the mix. Sony has gotten a huge library now. I mean, as far as games in their back catalog, they rival Nintendo for sure.
Sure, yeah.
Classic games, things like that. Characters, not so much. But games, they got a crap ton.
Yeah.
So speaking of subscription services, EA has also announced that they will be offering a subscription service. It'll be $5 a month, and you can play some older titles, some newer titles, a few newer ones, right? And it's only for Xbox One at this point, right?
Yes. Yep.
So,
exclusive to Xbox One. And it's sort of, it seems like you have to have a combination subscription to both the EA Access program and through Xbox Live Gold to
so
fully experience the multiplayer stuff.
I don't know that. The price isn't bad. If you want all access to those games, I don't think it's a bad deal, actually. Now, it's interesting. Sony said no. They don't want to offer this service.
Right.
They didn't think the value was good enough, and I thought there were some other things, some other issues with the contract with Sony that they didn't want, and didn't think it was quite good for gamers either. So,
I mean, it's one more subscription thing that on top of the Sony subscription programs, then you got to get the EA subscription service, and so it's just like it's a lot. It ends up being a lot.
Is there a gaming developer publisher that you would subscribe to get monthly access to all of their games?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's true. The one thing I think that they're right about is EA is big enough now, and they've purchased enough other companies, and they're now like large enough that they can have this service, and it makes sense. EA is massive, and they have a ton of games. Like, so I can see them having this service, but yeah, like I can't think of another like specific publisher that I would want just their games all the time. Like
I would say there's only one.
Bethesda or something like that, but there's only a limited category or a limited catalog that they have.
I think Nintendo's games are exclusive enough, and there are enough games that I would pay $5 a month to play all their games, and including retro games. That would be
if you get their whole catalog with it, then yeah.
That would be the granddaddy of all gaming subscriptions. I mean, if Virtual Console became a subscription-based service, I think they have the most potential for getting subscribers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure some people will do it because, especially the sports fans that want to play Madden, FIFA, NBA Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those sports franchises. I thought it was interesting too that they excluded Titanfall from anything. Like, you have access to anything that we put on there, but never Titanfall.
It will not happen. Forget about it.
Yeah.
All right. So for the last story this week, there is going to be a Dead Island movie. For those that are interested in that. I am not.
You interested in that?
No. I have not gotten on the Dead Island train yet.
Okay.
I saw about 30 minutes of Dead Island. A friend had it when it first came out for the 360. He brought it over, and I was not impressed.
Okay.
Now, I do own Dead Island, and I plan on giving it another shot. I got it super cheap. So I was like, all right, I'll give this another shot. People love it. Maybe there was something I missed. Maybe I was expecting another Left 4 Dead game, and it ended up being more of an RPG than I expected. So my expectations dictated whether I liked it or not. But
I loved it.
Did you love it?
I loved the first one. Yeah. I think that I beat it. I think so.
But is this a movie you want to see?
No, I don't really care about the movie at all. I mean, it's just a zombie movie. Like, there's nothing specific about that like situation that they would have to like, oh, that's totally Dead Island. It's like, the game itself wasn't like that insanely unique because like, I mean, zombie apocalypse has been done a million times, but it was the way that it was executed that was so much fun for me.
Yeah, generally they're more action games.
Yeah.
And to have all those RPG elements, I'm guessing that's what made it better.
Right.
Now, what are the zombies like in that? Are they the runners, the thrashers?
It's got a pretty good combination. Most of them, they're pretty like dumb until you get in their area, and then some of them are sort of shambling along, and others will sprint at you. So they mix it up.
Yeah, I hate sprinting zombies.
Because they terrify you, or you just don't like the concept?
I don't like the concept.
Okay.
I don't... I'm not saying running zombies. I'm saying like when they can all run faster than most people. Suddenly they are Olympic sprinters.
The athletic zombies is a bit weird.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. Just like...
I mean, they're supposed to be dead and like decaying. So like,
I mean, I could see like a fast shamble.
Sure.
But just a dead-on full sprint, like they should just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's much more like rage virus and less zombie.
Yeah, and those technically those aren't dead. So I understand that. Like I like 28 Days Later a lot.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, but the concept was that they weren't dead. They were just, like, insane.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
I
just...
don't think either of us are terribly excited for this.
No, not at all. I don't think... I think that generally when they have faster zombies that are, just kind of like rage zombies, the movies aren't as smart. It isn't about the people that and how they end up destroying themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about, like, you're lucky to survive because you've got hordes and hordes and hordes of these super athletic zombies that can somehow, like, run up each other and form this giant, ladder that they can climb over a giant wall.
Yeah.
World War Z. Stupid. Did you see that?
I did. That was a dumb movie.
That was dumb.
Good book, dumb movie.
Good book.
Not just in the, like, I wanted to get on the high horse and be like, oh, it's not as good as the book. It was just, it's totally different and dumb compared to the book.
I won't say that I wasn't entertained by it, but it was just like, check your brain at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, so not about World War Z, but about this movie deal. I think the coolest thing that I got from it was, like, the developer of the game, is it Deep Silver, or that's just the publisher? Who's the actual developer?
I don't know.
All right, well, apologies to you people who made it.
Deep Silver currently has 3 Dead Island video games in development, so that looks like they're both.
Okay. So they made these intros. The first Dead Island had a really classic, like, the girl in the hallway and in the hotel, like, that whole crazy scene that, like, made everybody really interested in the game. That sort of set it apart from the other zombie games coming out. There's certainly plenty of them. And then Dead Island 2, we've talked about a couple times in the show, that it's a really sort of funny, crazy intro of this guy transforming into a zombie. And, like, the camera work on it is done, like, really well. It's a really cool intro. And that's what attracted the attention of the studios. Like, hey, you've made this awesome intro for the video game that has made us interested in actually making a movie based on that, based on the fact that we can see that there's that cinematic potential. And
they should just get the directors of those intros to make the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, make something that's just totally cool and unique like that.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready to talk about the nerd recommendation of the week?
Sure am.
All right, let's do it. All right, everybody, nerd recommendation of the week. Mystery Science Theater 3000.
MST3K.
It is on Netflix, streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Dozens and dozens and dozens of episodes. And in the last week, I have been watching tons. I used to watch it as a kid when it was on Comedy Central, and especially on, like, Saturdays. Or I remember also they had on Thanksgiving was the MST3K marathons, and they'd just show that all day on Thanksgiving. Right. And recently I was like, hey, let's see what Brittany thinks of this.
Yeah.
And I didn't have high hopes that she would like it, because it's goofy. It's weird. It's like, 1, they are terrible movies, and 2, there's people talking during the movie.
Right.
She loved it.
Yeah.
And we've watched probably 12 to 15 episodes this week alone.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that it was on streaming, and saw that it was on streaming, and I just have to recommend. I mean, stream these. They're awesome. They're out there.
Yeah.
Watch them before Netflix gets rid of them. You know, it's a good show. I am not someone that is in the Joel or Mike camp. I think they're both good hosts. But I've been reading a lot about the show and about some of the turmoil that went on, behind the scenes and things like that. It's pretty interesting
Seedy.
read. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I didn't
did you
realize
watch
it
it at all?
was. Yeah, I watched it a lot. I can't remember when I came in, like who was hosting. But it was on. It was like 7 years,
I
like in
think 9
total.
seasons. I think there were
Yeah.
like 9 seasons. There's
Yeah.
a lot of episodes. I think 198 episodes, something like
Oh
that.
wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. I very distinctly remember when I was like early high school watching that a ton at my friend's house. Really funny, super goofy. Um, and I wouldn't really think that it'd be something that I would like, but it is like they're watching awful movies, but like really funny commentary the whole time, and which makes it awesome. And then there's like the sort of side story of they're on the space. Is it space station or spaceship?
Station, I think. It's
Okay.
the Satellite of Love.
Mm-hmm. So they're trapped there watching movies.
And at some
And,
point, though, they're underground in 13.
Okay. I don't
And then they
remember.
go back into space again.
Uh-huh.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
I think one thing, though, is like, it is very funny, but there
Mhm.
are a ton of references you will not get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the
Like what?
references, I don't mean you specifically, I mean you
Because
in
you're
general.
dumb.
They reference really old TV shows,
Mhm.
obscure TV shows, musicals, books. They reference everything, but that's
Yeah.
the thing about it, is that eventually one of those references will hit you, and it'll
Right.
hit you the right way,
Mhm.
and you'll start laughing.
Mhm.
Or just running gags throughout that. If you miss it the first time, there have been times where, like, Brittany and I have asked, why are they making that joke over and over again? I think it was Larry Zonka. It was an
Okay.
old football player that had a mustache, and
Uh-huh.
we missed it. We missed the original joke, and throughout they were just making references to Larry Zonka, memorabilia and stuff.
Right.
And it turns out that there was a photo in the beginning of the movie that they pointed
Uh-huh.
out as looking like Larry Zonka. That was the character's dad. And then
Right.
throughout the episode, that's what they referenced. But the way that we found out
Uh-huh.
what it was is the Wikia for MST3K.
Mm-hmm.
You can look up the episodes and look up what all the references are.
Yeah.
So that has been kind of fun with this second screen experience. Is looking up the jokes, that I didn't get, and finding out what that is.
Yeah.
One in particular, they will walk into a room and they go, "Chief, McCloud," and do it over and over and over again. We were like, "What the heck is that from?" And we had to look it up, and it was an old '70s TV show
Okay.
that they'd reference. So
Yeah.
I love that. I think as a kid, I can't imagine the percentage of jokes that would go over my head was
Yeah.
probably so much larger than now.
Right.
Plus,
But
you
even
can
then,
look it up.
like, we still found it really funny. So it's like, I think you're getting an experience and it's making me want to really watch it again. It's like, as an adult, you'll get so much more out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like I
that's cool.
see like all the little jokes that I thought were funny then and why.
Mhm.
But then, more and more, as I become exposed to more,
Mhm.
I find more jokes funny. It's a really good show.
Yeah.
I think back to some of the stuff that went on I was reading about, Joel and what went on with him in developing the show and what he wanted the show to be. And it sounds like he's a purist, and as far as an artist, and he just wanted it to be about the art and to create.
Mhm.
And the producers saw what this show could become
Uh-huh.
and wanted to make a movie and that kind of stuff, and it caused a lot of rifts on the show, and so that's why Joel ended up leaving.
Okay.
He was like, I'm going to kill this show if I stay on it.
Yeah.
And then Mike took over.
Mhm.
Now, I think a lot of people, they're like, who's this Mike guy?
Yeah.
And, he's Joel's opposition, which really wasn't the case. Joel discovered Mike, and Mike was like a head writer throughout Joel's run on the show. And Joel's the one that promoted him to head writer. So that's what's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then, Joel was the one that thought Mike would be the best to take over. So I think that's kind of cool.
There.
Yeah. So, but still, people like to promote their own camp, and then have that.
Yeah, I think that I came in and Mike was there when I first started.
I do remember when Joel left and Mike came on. As a kid, I was like, "Who is this Mike guy?" And I didn't like him. I've grown to appreciate Mike a lot more now. I still like Joel episodes a lot, but I really like Mike episodes too now. So watched the movie.
Yeah, how is the movie? Is it?
It's just an episode of the show in high def, basically.
Just a little longer episode.
No, it's like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So, yeah. I think it was a movie that was more popular, and probably the rights to that movie were more expensive.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. But also look up the whole process in them making the show. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So. That does seem really cool to go see MST3K in the theater, because you're watching the people in the theater watch a movie while you're watching. Yeah.
Whoa, my mind is blown. All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of another episode of Unbelievable Power Hour. It's time for closers and plugs.
Yeah, this is episode 30. You can email us about anything at podcast@uphshow.com.
Our Twitter handle is @UPHshow.
And you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/UPHshow.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, rate, review. You can also find us on Stitcher.
And, whoops, there's a misspelling of my own name. My website is aaronwiesinger.com, and you can follow me on Twitter @awiesinger.
I'm at DeHaan.com, and you can follow me on Twitter @DeHaan78.
And we have a Steam group, Unbelievable Power Hour.
And subscribe to Unbelievable Power Hour on YouTube. It's /UPH Show. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.